What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Let's get right into it. Here to bring you a discussion video on the possibility of James Harden joining the Phoenix Suns this offseason. Now, let's get into it. So, man, the Suns are in a rough spot. Will they keep Chris Paul? Will they waive Chris Paul? Will they trade Chris Paul? I think he will be waived. I did a prediction video yesterday on Chris Paul signing with the Chicago Bulls. Surprising move, super long shot to happen, but I think it is possible. I think that is one of the better destinations for him. But the Bulls are tight on cap, like most other teams, and they don't want to pay Paul that much money. They need to bring back Vucevic or sign and trade him. They need to bring back Kobe White. So they have players that they can re-sign and should re-sign, and plus they have Lonzo Ball's money on the books still. But like I said, I do think Chris Paul will be waived, but that leaves the Suns without a point guard. Cam Payne cannot be the starter at the point guard, in my personal opinion. Uh, or if he is, he's going to be very limited, 20 points. I think he'll have the same minutes as if he does start. I think Cam Payne will have the same minutes as a starter as he did on the bench the last couple of years. 20 plus, 18 to 20, somewhere around that range. But on to the main part of the video, James Harden. James Harden has a player option he will probably decline. The biggest thing is, the biggest rumor is him going to Houston. I don't, man, I've been buying it for so long, and it's been that rumor has been going on since the All Star break, since prior to the All Star break. And Harden was playing okay, and it was like, yeah, Harden's still eyeing Houston. Is it for the nightlife? Is it for the actual team? We're not quite sure, but if Harden does go back there, that would be one of the dumbest moves I've seen in my life. To really, unless you're gonna sign and trade, not sign and trade, unless you're gonna trade Jalen Green in that move and sign and trade him back to Philly, you know that would be a stupid move. That will really, in my opinion, really stunt Jalen Green's growth. Him returning to the Sixers makes sense, but the way Nick Nurse was talking during the press conference, I don't know. It was kind of interesting. But you look at the Phoenix Suns, look at James Harden history. He went to Arizona State. We all know, that's a connection there. He's friends with KD. There's a connection there. So that does make sense. You know, um, Him leaving KD and Kyrie at the Brooklyn Nets, did that leave any bad blood between him and KD? I don't know. I know it did. Well, I can assume it did from what we've read in reports and stuff between him and Kyrie. But KD, I'm not quite sure. So do something with DeAndre Ayton. Probably trade him to somewhere else. Bring back some role players, and then you can flat out sign. Have James Harden decline his player option, flat out sign him, and then you have a main three of KD, Booker, and Harden. I still wouldn't like it. I still wouldn't like it. And look, this is the thing, man. And I've said this for a while now. I don't want to go on a big rant. I might have to, but I'm trying to control myself. But I've been saying this for a while, man. You cannot continue to pay and sign and trade for losers. Plain and simple. You're gonna pay 40 million, 30 million, 20 million. If you keep Chris Paul, 15 million. Pay all that money to keep known, habitual, perennial losers. Chris Paul is a perennial loser. James Harden is the same. And I mean this in the most respectful way. No disrespect intended. I'm just talking as a fan, seeing what I've been seeing for a long time. I grew up on Chris Paul. Chris Paul's 39. I'm 27. About to be 39. I'm 27. I've seen Chris Paul play since I was 11, 10, 11, 12 years old. The same for Harden. Harden isn't that old, but I grew up on James Harden. I've seen him with OKC. I'm a Heat fan. So I've seen him get drafted. I've seen him in college, all that stuff. And they're better. They're better now than I'll ever be at the game of basketball. Don't get it twisted. But just seeing how they perform, seeing how their body breaks down when it needs them the most. Game 6, Game 5, Game 7s always happens. So I would never pay Chris Paul $15 million. I would never pay, at least now in his career. If you Chris Paul in the younger days with the Clippers, okay, cool. All right, we got to see it. The Rockets, we got to see it. First couple years of the Phoenix Suns, cool. I gotta pay you. Right now, you got to go. No question about it. James Harden, you've had too many opportunities. Too many opportunities. And this year for me just sealed the deal. Like, come on now. The first couple games you played awesome. Then you got back into your sorry ways the last couple games. Game 6, game 7. I'm like, come on. You can't revert back to your old ways. You were playing well. You were taking over. You was having great stretches. And now you're back to playing terrible. So it's like, man, when will these franchises and GMs learn to just let it go? If you can't win, you can't win. It is what it is. You try your best, but don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your coach's time and your fans' time in getting guys like James Harden. So James Harden took to the Suns. Is it possible? I do think so. Is it likely? I don't know. That's the weird thing. I don't know. You never know these days. If I had to bet, I say Ayton is guaranteed to. DeAndre Ayton will not start for the Suns ever again, in my personal opinion. I think he's as good as gone. Chris Paul is kind of iffy. It's kind of iffy. I had prediction videos on them trading Chris Paul or Cam Payne and somebody else to get a guy like Terry Rozier, to get Fred VanVleet, during the season or during this past trade deadline. I thought trading for Fred VanVleet and letting Chris Paul go, keep Mikal Bridges would have been more impactful than getting Kevin Durant. I'm standing on that forever. And I'm gonna keep saying this every video I do about the Suns. I was one of the only ones that I know of that was saying, hey, don't get KD. Keep Bridges, keep your depth, trade Chris Paul or trade Ayton, get Miles Turner, get Buddy Hield, get Fred VanVleet, get Terry Rozier, get, what other point guard was out there that was possible? Somebody of that nature, somebody that was kind of mid-level, decent option, or like a Fred VanVleet, get a D'Angelo Russell. You don't got to keep Chris Paul, who's a known non-winner. And you're gonna if you do sign Harden and pay all that money to James Harden, you're gonna swap out a old non-winner to a little bit younger but still old, a little slower non-winner in James Harden. And I really think Harden is more of a non-winner than Chris Paul is, for me personally. Harden has had bigger moments. Harden has had more moments, in my opinion, deeper playoff runs than Chris Paul has, and also bigger failures. No, Chris Paul failures come really with injuries. James Harden failures come with just bad play. That's really it. So I think James Harden is a bigger quote unquote loser than Chris Paul, but both are in the same category of one of the biggest failures, most talented players who's had moments to rise and shine and not do so when it mattered most. So, I don't want to go too much of a more of a rant, but that's how I feel about this situation. So him going to the Suns, cool. If it happens, great. I love to play with it on 2K or watch them play. They'll have some great moments, some great explosive moments. But when the time gets close, when it really, really matters, Game 6, Game 7, Game 5, I think the Suns will be like, dang, we shouldn't have got them. We thought it could have been different. We thought D-Book, we thought KD could have saved them. We thought not being in the nightlife in Arizona, which I don't know is not popping. I'm not quite sure. I've never been to Arizona before, but it might be popping. But there's no, super duper fancy nightlife in Arizona that I know of. He's focused, he's in shape. That all that stuff will trick you, and still you're gonna fall short when it matters most when you have James Harden and Chris Paul. So either way, I think they gotta get rid of both. Well, get rid of Chris Paul. Don't add James Harden. Trade DeAndre Ayton, excuse me. Get Miles Turner. Get Buddy Hield and go to work. Something like that. So one of those deals makes sense to me. If not, send him to Dallas. Get Christian Wood, sign and trade for Christian Wood. Get Tim Hardaway or something, and just ride out with what you have. But don't bring back Chris Paul if you're the Suns. Don't bring back James Harden, in my opinion. Don't bring in James Harden. Sorry, just let it ride with KD and Book. Bring in some decent guys and just go to work. Put your head down, hunker down. Worry about getting depth more than star players. And that's it for me, guys, for this video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.